On our newest member spotlight, we sat down with Charlene Marsh to talk about mentoring, succession planning, and her time as a local government management fellow. What are your biggest lessons learned and key takeaways from your time as a fellow?
I feel like I'm constantly learning in this program, which is really exciting, but it's so much information, I think, to take in and process and also make sure that I'm applying it in the future. I think one of the first lessons that I learned was that while research and gathering data and gathering information is extremely important in making decisions, you also have to be careful of, I guess, what do they call it? Analysis paralysis. And I had a conversation with a member of the police department who I was working with on a project, and she let me know that she saw so much of herself at my age in me because I wanted to get everything correct and wanted to cross all of my T's and dot all my I's, and she let me know, like, Charlene, you have to make a decision at some point. So that was one of the greatest lessons that I've learned thus far. And then just an overarching lesson, I've really learned the value of collaboration. And I think especially in local government, I think a lot of us talk about how there are no new problems that some of us are facing and trying to solve. So it's been really great to be a part of the LGMF network, specifically to get to talk to other fellows and get insight and guidance on projects that they've worked on that I am now working on, but also getting to see the value of collaboration within the organization and getting to see people from the city manager's office to public works to economic development coming together to solve a set of issues, knowing that we all have unique perspectives and valuable perspectives to add to solving those.
That's amazing. Glad that you've been able to take your time and see the value of the network and the experiences that you're having and just being able to apply those into your future career.
Absolutely. I think the conference in Portland, the national conference, was a really great turning point for me, especially earlier this year, because there were a couple of projects that I was working on pertaining to mental health and public safety and homelessness, and getting to go to those sessions and then meeting some of the people who presented at those sessions. Now I'm constantly in touch with those people, getting feedback and insight on program developments right here in Decatur.
Once your time as a fellow is over, what are your next steps and goals?
That is a really great question. I have about a year left in the fellowship, so I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. But I recently participated in a women's leadership cohort through ELGL. And one of the greatest lessons that I learned from that cohort was the value of viewing my career as more of a jungle gym as opposed to a ladder that I'm climbing. So something that I'm looking forward to doing after I finish my fellowship is likely getting out of the city manager's office in whatever organization I decide to work for, whether it is the City of Decatur or another community. I'd really love to kind of get a little bit more of that like horizontal experience and develop skills and expertise in different areas. Because while I do have a background in policy and I would love to gain more experience with things like planning and public works. And then in addition to that, like larger scale, I do aspire to be a city manager one day. And as I mentioned, my family being from Liberia, West Africa, something that I'm really interested in is possibly assisting with local governance capacity building in Liberia in the future. And I think that's something that's exciting about the ICMA programs, specifically the international programs. I learned that they are actually pursuing a relationship with Liberia in the future, which got me excited. So that's something that I really see for myself long term. But immediately, I think getting out of the city manager's office and getting to know other areas of local government in a more intimate way.
That's extremely selfless of you, and extremely inspiring to view it as, like you said, a jungle gym and not a ladder, and want to be more well versed in every facet of local government so you can be the best city manager you can be one day and then bring those resources back to Liberia. Do you have a mentor, and what level of importance do you feel that mentoring and succession planning hold for ushering in the next generation of local government leaders?
I feel like I have so many mentors at this point in my life, which is really exciting because I think I have situational mentors, but then also being a part of the LGMF program, I get to have mentors that are built into my job, which is exciting, especially as someone who really struggled with remaining consistent with mentors that I had had in the past. I can't really avoid being mentored by a lot of these super experienced leaders in local government. So yeah, I have tons of mentors that were previous supervisors, current supervisors, former classmates, all of that. And I think I've really come to see that mentorship is extremely important as it pertains to succession planning. And I don't believe that you can have effective succession planning without mentorship. I think because those older and more experienced leaders in the organizations need to have a deep and nuanced understanding of the needs and the strengths and opportunities for growth that younger employees do have in these organizations, in order to plan effectively and to make sure that we have sustainable organizations. I know in my organization specifically, there are lots of people with decades of experience, and I think it's kind of frightening to think that when those people do decide to retire, like that wealth of knowledge is going to be gone, which really highlights the importance of succession planning. Like, while they can learn from younger individuals in the organization, just new perspectives and ways of approaching problems. But I think there's a lot of knowledge that they are also able to pass down, that we can kind of reformulate and apply in new ways. I think I've been extremely lucky to start my career in the City of Decatur. That's something that I learned, just that I picked up in my interviews with them, and also something that I've heard from people across the country who know about Decatur, is that the city and city leadership is very good at developing leaders. And I think that's something that I consistently hear throughout the organization as well, whether it's the professional development opportunities or also just direct mentorship from supervisors who are able to identify different areas of opportunity that I mentioned, and opportunities for growth. Those are extremely important with the city. So I feel very fortunate to start off here.
And speaking of all of your mentors, and formal and non-formal, what do you feel it takes to be a good mentee?
You know, I am still trying to figure out what it takes to be a good mentee, because I feel like I was a bad one in the past. I think one thing that I've struggled a lot with personally is fear of taking up too much space. And I think, you know, on the opposite side of that, that is one thing that it really takes to be a good mentee, is not being afraid to take up space, and knowing that there are things that you need, and there are people who can provide things to meet those needs, and that's what those mentors are for. So being confident in what you don't know, and confidently expressing that, and asking for help and asking for guidance. But I'd also say, you know, something that I struggled with was just following up consistently with people, with those mentors.
The road to learning never stops, so glad that you're still developing those skills and figuring out how to be the best mentee for your mentors.
And I would also add, I think for a lot of people, when they think of mentorship and networking, they think it's limited to the job search. But something else that I've learned as I've invested more in mentorship is that mentorship is bigger than searching for a job. Like, there's so much that you can learn from a mentor, even while you're on the job and you have no plans to leave anytime soon. They help a lot with navigating different situations. And I think especially for me, as a Black woman coming into the local government profession, it's been extremely valuable to also have Black women who are experienced in this field around me, who can provide kind of like identity and experience informed guidance that may not, you know, really apply to someone else who doesn't share the same experiences that I've had.
I love your passion for local government, and you have me even more excited about local government than I was going into this call. I'm very excited to see where you go, and happy about your experience with the LGMF program thus far, and excited to hear what's next for you. But thank you so much for your time. To view more member spotlights, subscribe to our channel.